Are you thinking about buying or selling a home, downsizing, investing? Are you relocating? Do you want to know your local market conditions? Are you behind on payments? Are you looking for improvement tips? Or what if your home didn't sell? This is Real Estate with Ryan, your hometown expert and most trusted source for up-to-date information. And now, your host, Ryan Coleman with Hometown Realty.
Welcome, everybody, and welcome to Real Estate with Ryan. I'm Ryan Coleman, as always, along with my lovely co-host, April Coleman.
You got it. Hello to all.
Glad to have you in the building today.
Thank you so much.
So busy week. Kids are officially back in school.
They are. Ours is not.
Not yet. We just
next year.
Next year she'll be there. It's wild. You're seeing all the pictures online of kids and going back and different ages. You know how Facebook comes in there and shows you, last year's picture to this year, and all the babies and big boys and girls are getting so big.
I know. It's craziness.
So always as kids go back to school, you guys in the real estate market understand that it gets a little slower. This week is always yearly, year after year. I don't care what's going on. I'll get a call from a seller or what's going on, and they'll say, how the showings are slowed down a little bit, or
what's going on
in the market. I said, don't worry. Everybody's focusing on getting their kids back, getting the babies on the bus, and meeting teachers. And
They had to go last minute vacations and getaways, and then buy school supplies, and
so it's just that time of year. And usually this week and the weekend, we're starting to pick back up, and things kind of get back in the groove for the parents and everybody out there.
I think it usually takes them about a month to get really settled in, and then starting in September, they'll start to boom off like crazy, and then we'll have a crazy October.
It seems like summer was just here.
I know.
Is that crazy?
It is.
Yeah, fall.
Gosh.
Well, you guys know what fall means.
I know.
East Tennessee, that's football time. So
I'm ready to break out my orange. I just
couple weeks out, and we're ready to break out some tickets for you guys. I didn't even tell April, but we got a couple weeks out. So make sure you guys stay tuned to Real Estate with Ryan. Last year we were doing it. We're having a super exciting time sending people to games. So I'm going to take my marketing team here this week, or if not, end of the week, but we'll go next week. We'll pick up some tickets. We're going to give them away, have people have a good time, because we're too busy. We never get to make it.
Oh, we're going to go this year.
We went last year once, didn't we?
I don't think so.
Who knows?
I think we planned on going, and then we never went.
I don't know. We're so busy.
Just got
so busy helping you guys.
I told Kinsley that she was going to go to her first football game this year. But what do you think about them selling? Aren't they selling alcohol this year? Is it at Neyland or Thompson?
I don't really drink, so I don't know.
I know. I think they said they're going to be selling beer.
I think they are. They're selling alcohol.
So it's going to be really
exciting. So if you ever went to a UT game and they're a little rowdy anyway.
Because they went to the bars before. If you go to the bars before, then it gets real crazy. Now it's going to be even better.
Hey, we'll do one of our vlogs. We'll go down to the UT game, and that'd be real exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be really exciting.
Well, guys, if you're out there, thank you as always every Saturday for tuning in to Real Estate with Ryan. And we're talking about today how much home you can afford. How much do you afford? So if you're thinking about buying or selling, it's a big process. I know when we bought our first home, or multiple homes, however you look at it, but our home together when we got married, so it'd be our first home.
Yes,
together as a family. You go, what can you afford? How do you determine that?
Right.
And the whole process of going through that. So, you don't want to be house poor.
Exactly.
We walked in some of the houses where, you have the big houses, they're beautiful, and it's like,
ooh,
where's all the furniture? Where's all the furniture at?
I'm like, oh yeah, we got to put furniture in this house. I forgot about that.
So, and then you don't want to buy too less of a house because, you're trying to be super conservative. So there's a middle road there. How much do you know how to, budget when looking for your next home? Kind of avoid PMI and all that good stuff.
Yeah,
So we'll talk about that today. Real Estate with Ryan. Our good Dave Ramsey is helping us with this article. So we used a little bit of Dave's knowledge along with our knowledge and kind of put it together and kind of walk you through that process of what to afford and the process.
I actually helped one of his, us being an ELP, I actually got a client from him as a referral, so I helped them close today.
Thanks,
I'm
Dave.
really
I appreciate that. And they're a sweet couple.
Oh,
Were
gosh,
they so happy?
Yeah, they were really, really, really happy.
Wonderful.
Really
wonderful.
happy. Cove Point. I can go through some of the closings. You want to hear some of the closings?
Yeah, let's tell some congratulations. It's always a great time of our show.
I know, I love it.
And then we'll get right into the topics.
Okay, cool, because that's my favorite part, Okay, so Andy's Ridge, we are so excited for them. It was such a long process trying to get them closed. There was some headaches, but we finally got them closed, so congrats. And St. Regents, they actually closed a week early. We were really excited for them, and they had already moved out and everything, and we wrapped it up for them. and they are very excited. Then for Center Oak Drive, they closed and they were able to move. We had, like I mentioned, Cove Point, and then Hickory Drive. We are excited for the Cardwells. They closed on their house. And also Lamar Avenue, the Byers, they closed. So we helped them. We have a lot more closings coming up. Oh, and Peterson. Miss Tarwater.
Blanche.
Yeah, I can't forget about
Congratulations, Blanche.
Bless her heart. Oh, gosh. she had a time.
It was something, wasn't it?
I know. She was so stressed out.
All kinds of inspections and this and that and a repair.
I know. She was so nervous and stressed out, but
we got it done for Blanche.
We got it done.
Congratulations.
She moved, and she's okay now.
So happy for her.
Yes.
So we're getting to our show. We're talking about home ownership and what does it cost and things you need to think about determining that. So you guys, if you're getting a loan, you understand the process. And how do lenders determine that? Ideally, you want to take your monthly income, get an idea of what you make before taxes, and then ideally, perfect world, between 25 and 35% should be your mortgage payment. 25 to 35% of your monthly gross should be your monthly payment. So that should be your. But Dave, our friend Dave, says that 25% is the most conservative and is where you want to be. Now, so our monthly payment and what type of loan? We'll kind of skip to there's two types of loans. Well, there's multiple, but there's a 15-year and then a 30.
Right.
So obviously on the 15-year, you're going to pay less interest. It's going to be a little bit higher payment.
Yes.
But you're going to pay it off in rapid time.
Exactly. And
so we always recommend 15-year mortgages if you can do it. Some people are just not able to do it. Sometimes we do have some 20 and 25s, and a very common one is the 30-year mortgage.
Very, very common, yeah.
So what would you say, April, to the audience, if you're getting your first home, but a 15-year mortgage, kind of the numbers you look at it, and it's about $400 or $500 more than you want to spend. You know, you're being super conservative. You're crushing debt. You know, you're getting away the credit cards. You know, you're focusing on just the major items. Would you recommend the 15, or would you keep renting until, you know, basically you could get to that 15-year mortgage?
Well, I personally think that if you can afford that extra $500 a month and it's not, you know, going to break your bank, then I would go for a 15-year mortgage. And that's because you pretty much on a 30-year mortgage will pay double than what the house you pay for cost. So,
that's that form they give you at closing if you guys ever bought a house, and it's called the Truth in Lending, the last form they give you. And our title agent Carla's going through the forms, and it's like, well, here's your loan, and it's kind of like document like this, and at the end it's like, if you pay all the payments, it's going to be this. So if you bought a house for $100, it will end up being $300.
Yes. So the truth in the loan is that you're going to be paying a lot more than what you actually paid for.
So you pay double. And so, you know, the first 7 to 12 years is mostly all interest. You know, so if you have $1,000 payment, guys, you know, basically $800 or more is going to interest. And I think that's the biggest thing to think about is when you're buying and selling, most people are selling every 7 to 10 years. So these loans that are loaded basically interest in the front, that's why the equity doesn't go down as quickly.
Yes.
As where if you look at the amortization schedule for a 15-year mortgage, it really is more rapidly. So you take that $1,000 example, and your payment would be $600, $500 or $600 going to principal, the balance going to interest. So you're rapidly paying down that balance.
Yeah, I remember when I bought my first home, and I did not have any knowledge about buying a home. I went in and I was like, hey, this is my job, help me out. I think I can buy a house. And I didn't know. And then I got into the closing table, and when everything went smooth, but when I got my first statement, I thought, oh my goodness, I'm paying this much, and this much is going to interest, and now I'm going to owe this much at the end of the term. And I was freaked out. So I thought, I am never going to get this thing paid off. But then after a few years went by, it just started going down quicker than what it was in the beginning. So,
well, I think that's something that most people will go back to. You know, we're in real estate all the time. We talk about it is, you know, what is your payment even made up of, right?
Right.
So it's principal, interest, taxes, insurance. They call it PITI. And then that thing that they don't tell you, that mortgage insurance, that if you're below 80% or above 80%. I mean, basically, you've got to pay the bank this insurance.
Right.
That basically, if you don't pay the payments, that protects the banks and in case you default. So
that good stuff.
Yeah. So
extra tax.
We'll talk about that. We're going in the second half of the show, so we're coming on a break. But we'll talk about things that you need to budget, things you need to think about, surprises that you don't think about. We'll talk about closing cost. What is closing cost? All that process, all that comes in to the factor of how much you can afford to get your dream home, your forever home, or you're going to be conservative and save that move up for down the road.
Right.
What else, April, before we go on the break?
Oh, gosh.
17 seconds. You're on the clock.
Oh, no. 17 seconds.
What can you say in 17? Hey, so we come in the break. Don't forget to vote us Best of Knoxville 2019. It's out there on knoxnews.com. Look forward to seeing you guys here on the other side of the break. Stay tuned.
If you're wanting to purchase a new home but have questions about rates, programs, and costs, you need to call Chris Hograff with Gateway Mortgage Group. He has 17 years of lending experience in Knoxville and would love to help. Chris will happily answer all of your questions, and then he'll get you the best mortgage loan with the lowest rate. Also, Gateway Mortgage does not sell your loan after closing. You'll be their client for life. Come see how quick and stress-free it is to get quickly approved with Chris Hograff. Call him at 257-7777 to set an appointment to visit him at his office on Cedar Bluff. NMLS 289930. At Genesis Real Estate Title, the homeowner comes first. Did you know that it's the buyer's choice when it comes to a title company? Locally owned and operated and serving Knoxville and surrounding communities, Genesis Real Estate Title was built on the belief that a local company is your best choice for personal service. With 19 years experience, Carla Long's focus has always been on serving you. Genesis Real Estate Title offers free consults to home buyers to educate them about title insurance and closing before starting the purchasing process. Call 865-454-8000. Genesis Real Estate Title, the beginning to securing your investment.
Hi, Knoxville. Laura Ingram here. Thinking about selling your home without all the headaches most people experience? Not all real estate agents operate the same. You can have a wonderful hometown agent right here in your own backyard whom you can trust to sell your house. I'm talking about Ryan Coleman of Hometown Realty. His system outmarkets and outsells 99% of other agents in the Knoxville area. Ryan spends thousands of dollars every week on marketing, driving more buyers to your home, resulting in your home selling faster and for more money. Ryan has been voted by Knoxville News Sentinel as one of the best realtors in your area. What I like is when you call Ryan, you get Ryan. You're not passed off to some other agent. On such a big decision like selling your home, you just can't afford not to have a hometown expert like Ryan on your side. And don't worry about getting stuck with owning two homes or no home at all. Ryan guarantees to sell your home at a price and deadline acceptable to you, or he'll buy it himself. Now that is a great deal. You can also listen to Ryan right here every Saturday at News Talk 98.7 FM, or just call Ryan directly at 693-SOLD. That's 693-7653, or go to ryancoleman.org and start packing.
Welcome back. This is Real Estate with Ryan, your hometown expert. Ryan talks all things real estate and gives you the most up-to-date information on the Knoxville market and surrounding counties. Ryan Coleman with Hometown Realty.
All right, guys, thank you. Back in the studio, Real Estate with Ryan. Me and April here, as we were running on that break, we were running a little bit short, so I wanted to kind of go back and tell you what I was talking about. I couldn't even realize it. As we're talking about the 4th, or kids going back to school, I said, April, do you know it's Best of Knoxville time?
I didn't.
They're voting again. So we got to let everybody know, you guys, we really appreciate your support the last couple of years. So if you're out there, go to knoxnews.com. You can also go to ryancoleman.org in our Facebook. We'll have the links up there for direct voting. And so your vote is really appreciated.
Right.
Every week, every weekend, we do 2 radio shows. And we try to give you some up-to-date information in the market. We try to make our content fresh, as Daniel's the hipster says, fresh content, right? Is that cool?
Dry.
Yeah. So we really take the time and try to make sure that we, a lot of guys, obviously we can run reruns and all that good stuff.
We try not to.
We try to do it. We try to give fresh content every time and some valuable tips that you guys, if you're thinking about buying or selling, you could pass to somebody that you know is in the marketplace. Hopefully it helps you.
That's right.
You think it helps, April?
I think so.
Hope it helps some.
Hope so.
It may put them to sleep. No. April always April always keeps us entertaining. Yeah. So as we were talking about more on this show, we're talking about things you need to know. We're talking about principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. And then some things that you don't think about, they actually escrow those into the payments. So
Most of the companies.
it's not just your loan. More than likely, it's going to be all that included. So think about that when you're budgeting your house.
And then if the company you go with doesn't escrow that in, then you're going to have to make sure that you keep those payments up to date and then know how much your payments are going to be.
I think one of the most important things that Dave talks about and we talk about as well is just factor in your future cost. Things always change. I just got a whopping water bill at our property, one of our investment properties. Won't even tell you how big that was. Got to factor those costs in. Obviously, you won't be having those costs.
No.
April doesn't know about the water bill
I don't know
yet.
about the water bill yet, apparently, because
You don't know about the $3,000 water bill?
nope. I thought it was going down.
Oh, Daniel says it's 4. So,
Oh, Lord, y'all going to give me a heart attack on the show.
so keep in mind that there's increased utility costs, new appliances, ongoing repairs in
Yes.
that property. The great thing about home ownership is that you own it,
Right.
but the landlord's not coming out to fix anything.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So make sure you allow those for your budget. That's what we always talk about. Always having your emergency fund,
Right.
having your savings account put away. So important.
And the bigger the house, the bigger the cost.
The bigger the house, the bigger the cost. So, but keep in mind that you're not throwing your money away in rent.
Right.
You know, now
You're not.
you're building something where your family's going to be hopefully your forever home. Or
Right.
If this is your first
Build equity.
starter home, then right? How many families have we helped that have bought their first home? And guys, you get in there and you squeak in there to your first home. You come in there with the seller paying closing. You got your bare bones down payment, and you get in there. But what that opens the door for 5 or 6 years or 10 years down the road, you build up equity and it allows you to get that bigger home as your family's
true.
growing, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
Yep. And a lot of people do a starter home, pay it off, and then pay cash towards their next house.
or some people keep it as a rental. So there's
Yeah.
a lot of options. Don't discount purchasing, even if you're getting in. We say on the show we always like to put 20%. Sometimes it just doesn't happen.
Yeah, it doesn't.
But I'm a firm believer if you got your fund, you got your reserve funds put away, and you're allocating for these fixed costs, that if you can get into home ownership with the interest rates, I think the Feds just talked about lowering the rates here just recently.
Yeah, that's good.
I mean, so you're getting in a market where you're basically getting 4% below.
Oh, wow.
I mean, you're getting into a home, their rates will probably not be that low in a long, long time. So
Yeah.
I think it's a great advantage. April, let's talk about some of the costs that most people don't realize when they purchase a home.
Right.
What are the costs that we have?
Well, I was thinking of one thing that you may not think about that could be required by your lender, which is if they want you to pay off certain credit cards, or if you have you go to the closing table and then you randomly have judgments against you that you weren't aware of, or anything like that may come up. So they may say, hey, in order to get this, you're going to have to pay $2,000 on your credit card and pay it off or pay it down or do this or do that. So that could be one cost that may be unexpected. And then you also have your closing cost. You're going to have an appraiser to come out to do an appraisal.
So let's go back on that. I'm going to piggyback
Okay.
on you, and that's a good idea. Most people don't think about that. I think the first step, we're talking about the numbers, right? Where you want to keep your payment. How much can you afford when you're looking for your first home?
Right.
But then I think the next step is you need to run a credit report on yourself.
Oh, yeah, that's a good.
And everybody understands there's 3 credit bureaus in the area, or the U.S., and it's Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. And if you've ever dealt with them, each entity is a little bit different.
They are.
And so let's say you had a old bill from a credit card or something that didn't get paid, or something that was lingering, when you were young or something to get paid. Remember, that could still be out there. So it's important that you know exactly what your credit is,
Right.
so that you can get the best possible rate. And then any last minute surprises, like you were saying, that come to closing.
Right.
Because the last thing you want to do is turn in your lease or be putting your home on the market, looking for the next one and not get pre-qualified on that
Right.
process. So
Right.
I agree
You didn't
with-
allocate for.
I agree with you. I think that's the first step, is even if you're going to do it 4 to 6 months, pulling your home credit report. And there's lots of sites out there that will
That will do
allow
that
you
for
to do that, and they're mostly accurate for the
Right.
for the most reason.
And I think you have to get with a good lender before you even start looking for a house. We've talked about that so many times, as getting pre-approved. And you've got to know how much debt you have, what's the debt ratio, how much can you truly afford, because you may think, oh, well, I make this much money a year, so I should be able to afford this house, or this is my dream house, this is what I want. But then you get in, the lender's like, oh no, you've got a lot of debt, you need, you've got car payments, you've got this and that. And so I think it's really good to talk to a lender first before you start making any headway.
People don't understand how important that process of getting pre-qualified, even if it's 6 months or 12 months down the road.
Right.
We've got a great lender, Chris Hograff over at Gateway Mortgage. He does all our stuff. He takes care of our people from start to finish. I mean, we love him because he treats them, everybody as family. I mean, that process, we walk all the way through it.
Right.
And it's a really good starting point.
It really is.
And it allows to take a lot of the stress. We talk about real estate being one of the most stressful situations that you're going to be in. And a lot of that's undue stress.
Right,
we wait to the last minute to get pre-approved, or we think, hey, I'm going to get a loan, my credit's good, no problem.
Right.
But we take in the factor that you may be self-employed, or there may be something lingering from a divorce, God forbid, or some different things that maybe your credit score, you paid everything perfect, but the score is not where you want to be to get that excellent rate.
Right.
And so I think that's excellent point.
Yes.
And
they'll also tell you in the process, hey, do not open any new accounts. You may have perfect credit. Everything may be good and solid. Don't change, if you have to change jobs, let us know. Don't take any new credit out. Don't go buy a boat. Don't do anything until you close on your house. So,
well, the guy's like, I want to buy a new boat.
I know,
man.
you're like, wait until the day after closing. You sign those papers.
No new debt.
Yeah.
So April, tell us a little bit of what's in closing cost. When we purchase a loan, we know we've got our down payment, but what makes up closing cost?
Closing costs are a lot of different things, but like I said, you're going to have an appraiser to come out to appraise the house, and you'll have to pay for that.
Right.
If it needs to be re-inspected for some reason, usually that's with FHA, VA loans, then they'll have to come back out, and that's an extra fee that you'll have to pay. If you get a home inspection, termite inspection, you'll have those fees.
So is that separate from closing costs?
No, I think they can factor that in, but yeah, normally it is separate. I think like the termite, they'll usually pay that at closing.
Right,
it's not part of closing costs, but you can pay that at closing, and they can factor that in.
We've got a termite, we've got a home inspection.
And then if you have to re-inspect some items, if they fix it, then you'll have another fee.
The bill's starting to increase.
I know. If you have credit reports, you'll have to pay for that. Attorneys. You have to pay for attorneys.
We use titles here. I mean, most states use attorneys in title companies. They're kind of mixed, but those fees are pretty similar across the board, across the U.S.
Right.
So we don't forget our taxes. We've got our interest.
Homeowners Association, if you have that.
You can get that prorated.
Yes.
And then we got our lender fees. So we got our lender fees. You got any points? You got any discounts? And then any credit report fees. All these things come into the play of what it costs to actually make up your closing cost. Your closing cost, in a rule of thumb, is going to be about 3 to 4% of your loan amount. Don't hold it to the T, but that's a good variation.
Right.
And of course, guys, make sure you choose the right agent, of course, to walk you through that whole process when purchasing your next home. I got some guys right here in the studio. I think we can help you with that process. Guys, this show goes quicker than we can always expect. Make sure, don't forget to vote for us Best of Knoxville 2019 on the website. If you need us for any real estate, we'd love to help you guys. It's an easy number. It's 693-SOLD. 693-SOLD, or they can visit us online. We're at, April?
Oh, I think it's RyanColeman.org, maybe?
That's pretty sure. It's RyanColeman.org. And if you guys are watching us out live on Facebook and streaming, thank you guys so much for following us on social media. And if you happen to miss it, we'll catch you on the next episode. You guys have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in. You can reach out to Ryan anytime at 693-SOLD. Look us up on Facebook or visit him online at ryancoleman.org. And make sure to join us every Saturday at 5 only on News Talk 98.7 WOKI.